Hey, what's up? This is Bobby Amaru from Saliva, and you're watching Fascination Street Podcast.
Yeah, AV in your ears. That's Ambush Being giving you this audio visual down the most interesting street in the world with my boy Steve. Fascination Street, you already know. Let's get it when you whip in the Fascination Street. What do you...
Welcome back, Streetwalkers. This episode is with Bobby Amaru, the singer from the band Saliva. In this episode, we find out where Bobby was born and raised and what got him into the music business. We talk about how he came to be part of Saliva, and now he's been the front man for almost 12 years. We talk a little bit about how the band spent their COVID pandemic times. They wrote a shitload of songs, recorded a bunch of albums, a bunch of covers, all kinds of things. And we talk about their new album, Revelation, dropping September 8th, 2023. And Bobby lets me play the newest single from that album, Come Back Stronger, in the episode. If you love Saliva, which you do, or you wouldn't be listening to this, make sure you check them out on tour, the SNAFU tour, beginning September 10th, alongside Drowning Pool, Adelita's Way, and Any Given Sin. They're playing all over the country. Go check them out at a place near you. And this is my conversation with the lead singer of the band Saliva, Bobby Amaru.
Prepare to be fascinated. Prepare to be fascinated. Prepare to be fascinated.
Welcome to Fascination Street Podcast, Bobby Amaru. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bobby Amaru. He is the lead singer, the front man, if you will, of Saliva. They have a new album coming out September 8th called Revelation, and they're going to be kicking off the SNAFU tour September 10th with Drowning Pool, Adelita's Way, and Any Given Sin. Bobby, what I like to do is start from the beginning, man. Where were you born and raised? Where'd you grow up?
I was born in Charleston, South Carolina. I probably would still be there. Who knows where the hell I'd be right now had I stayed there with my family. But Hurricane Hugo hit in 1989 and it destroyed a lot of the city. Like where we lived, our whole area was destroyed. And my parents was like, oh, do we want to rebuild here or we want to move? My aunt at the time had married my uncle who was in the Navy in Jacksonville. And she was like, you guys should come to Jacksonville where there are more hurricane watches, you know? So we moved to Florida to run from Andrew and all the other ones too. But Hugo is probably why moved to Florida. So we moved to be, closer to them. I had cousins that were my age and stuff too. And so I grew up in Jacksonville, I'd say 1990 or whatever. Lived there ever since, man.
And at what point did you decide that music was going to be your passion, your future, your career, your whole life, really?
I always liked music at an early age. My parents were into music. My grandfather was like a lounge singer kind of style stuff. Like he loved Sinatra. And my dad was all into, all the 70s, 80s stuff, like Priest and Maiden and a lot of that, and then there was that whole wave of the MTV and, even the hair stuff, like, the Dawkins of the world and Motley Crue. And, so I was just a kid watching that stuff on MTV and, watching Looks That Kill video, thinking they were like superheroes and shit.
They are.
I just knew that's what I wanted to do, man. But I was a drummer. I started as a drummer and I moved on to like guitar and the vocals kind of came last. I never really knew that I could sing or whatever. Maybe I still don't know. I'm still trying here. Yeah, I grew up in Jackson and music was always something I wanted to do. And I just kept pursuing it. And I would play in like neighborhood football and baseball. I did play baseball and stuff like that growing up. But I always wanted to play drums and dreamed about being in a band and all that stuff early on, and started putting my first band together in middle school. And from there on, just didn't stop.
Now, at a certain point before Saliva, your band got signed to like Elektra Records or whatever. And then some things happened and that partnership kind of didn't really last or wasn't as fruitful as everybody had hoped. How did that not sour you on the whole business? Like, why didn't you just go, well, fuck this, I'm out?
I said that a few times, but like anything else, in this industry, It's always somehow managed to find your way to get sucked back into it.
It's like the mafia.
Yeah, it's like as musicians, I don't know what it is that makes us want to sell our soul so bad to be doing this, but it's got to be because you love it, man. You know, we wouldn't do it if we didn't. And it's like, what else are we going to do? The music business is something that you've got to learn it, man. You've got to figure it out. It's not for everybody. It's going to take you some time to figure it out for sure. Like it took me a few times. You go through a few record deals and you figure out, maybe this isn't like the smartest way to go about this, you know? And I think even with like a band like Saliva, we had to learn the labels want you to be at the mercy of them. They've always wanted that. They're in the business to sell records. They don't give a shit how they sell them, who's behind the, you know, Milli Vanilli, bro. They don't give a shit, you know, whatever. They want to sell records. And if you're selling them records, you're in there. If you're not, you know, they're going to go find someone else that is.
That makes sense.
It's not going to wait. So I think as the downloading and all that stuff started to happen a lot more and labels were trying to figure out different ways to make money, they thought, why don't we just do like 360 deals and take a piece of everything a band's doing or an artist is doing, you know? So then it starts to become a situation where the artist is making even more less now, you know, because the label's now taking things that they weren't normally taking before, but they're not able to sell a ton of records like they used to. So they got to figure out a way to make money off of you. I always say, I feel like labels, they only want to sign young people, right? They don't want to sign the 40-year-old guy who's been through like 3 or 4 of them because I fucking know better.
Right.
The average 18-year-old is going, I just want to fucking be signed. I just want to go tour the world and be the biggest rock star on the planet. That's all they're thinking about. Those are the easiest people to get. And then you can get them to sign these 360 deals and basically make the deal with the devil, you know, to become that big time rock star that we all dream of.
So back in the day, record labels used to only get like 85% of record sales.
Yeah.
And the artist would get like, you know, 15 or whatever. And then that's your 15% is split across managers and agents and everybody.
And you're getting negative. You owe them money, you know?
So about 11 years ago or so, you got a text, a phone call. Hell, it might even have been an Instagram message. I don't know. But somebody rung you up and said, hey, Bobby, how would you like to come sing for Saliva? How did that come about?
So I had a friend that lived in Jacksonville. He was a lighting guy for a lot of bands like Godsmack and Limp Bizkit and a bunch of big bands. And he was always on tour and gone. And he had talked about wanting to start a band with me on the side. And I had been doing a bunch of my own shit, my own songs, and, you know, for my own project. At the time I was doing like TV music, doing Q work, you know, for some companies and pitching songs to like TV, like Bar Rescue and like Kardashians and like those TV shows and stuff. And I was making pretty decent money doing that. And I was kind of out of the game. Like I didn't really care to do anything other than just my own stuff. And well, he called me, Jeff did, my buddy that was a lighting guy. And he said, hey man, I gave Saliva your number. They're going to call you. And I thought maybe they're going to call me about a drumming gig or something, you know, not a singing gig. I didn't really know that that's what it was about until I got a text message from Paul. And those guys were notorious for not calling people. They were texters. They would just text. I found that out years later. But yeah, the text just said something along the lines of, hey, this is Paul from Saliva. Jeff had given us your number. We heard a bunch of your stuff. We really like you and like what you're doing. Would you be interested in working with us? That's what it said. It wasn't even singing or anything. They just said, would you be interested in working with us? And I was like, yeah, man, you know, sounds good. Just let me know what you guys need or whatever. And in my back of my head, I'm thinking, you know, like what the hell happened to Josie? You know, I just didn't really know. And I'd crossed paths with them before because the guy that did my electro record, Bob Marlette, had done several of their big records. He's the guy that was like behind them in the first record and stuff. So I knew of them. I had never like actually met them or hung out with them. And you just never know how it's going to go. 3 of them, Wayne, Dave, and Paul, flew into Jacksonville and we started recording. November 2011 was when that call and stuff happened. So here I am almost 12 years later wondering if I made the right fucking moves.
I'm sure you did. Here's a question that is a little bit bizarre, and I hope the question comes off as genuine as I mean it. When you're joining a band that is already an established band, there's a risk you can either become the Sammy Hagar of Van Halen or the Gary Cherone of Van Halen. And God bless Gary Cherone, that wasn't a good fit. So in your mind, were you worried that you were going to be the Gary Cherone of Saliva, or did you already know you were going to be the Sammy Hagar of Saliva? Does that make sense, the way I worded that?
I think Gary Cherone and Sammy Hagar are both great.
Absolutely.
I think anybody that was going to join that third slot for Van Halen was going to get the wrath, man, you know. And then you got to say, maybe it's Van Halen, you know, maybe it's not any of these other cats, but doesn't matter. As the singer and the front man, you're going to get the shit, you know, you're going to take it. You're going to give Eddie Van Halen any shit. He's Eddie Van Halen. You know what I mean? So I think with this situation, it's so different though, like, because when Sammy Hagar obviously joined Van Halen, it was still the mid 80s and shit was just booming. And like people were selling millions of records. Warner Brothers was like, we don't give a fuck, man. It's Van Halen. We didn't have any of that. In fact, the band got dropped. They had fulfilled their contract. They had to do one more record. I think they were going to get dropped anyway from Island. And that record was just poor sales and such. And so when I got in the band, I just didn't know what I was getting into. I don't really talk about this kind of stuff either. But when I got into the band, I mean, it was just fucking drama, man. Drama from before, like all the previous shit that I'd heard in the stories and stuff. But the three guys, I could tell they really were just hungry for a breath of fresh air, new energy. They wanted to still play music. They wanted to still tour. You know, they didn't want to quit. They felt like, well, this is either going to work or it's not. And that's the way I looked at it too. I was never trying to come into the band and be like, yeah, man, I'm going to go fucking take on the world. And it's going to be the fucking greatest thing, you know, greatest show on earth. That was never my mentality. I looked at it as this is just a good opportunity to go play with a group of guys that have been doing this with this brand for the past decade. At the time it was, I think it's going to be fun. I'm up for the challenge to be able to go out and do my thing and influence my capabilities and stuff. I mean, I knew that I loved being on stage. I believed that I could do it, but it's all perception still. Like, what is the public going to think? And luckily, the band was not at a level like a Van Halen at the time. So there were a few years where people still didn't know that they had a new singer. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, doom, 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 MTV, I'm Kurt Loder, fucking Saliva, you know, decided to part ways with the guy from the Spider-Man soundtrack and all that stuff. There was none of that. I think the transition happened very fast. And, you know, I've always given credit to Josie and credit to what they did and achieved in the past. And, you know, I've always had a whole level of respect for that, even when I didn't have to. It just is what it is. But I always tried to appreciate the opportunity that I was given. But I stepped into it and I embraced it and I made it mine. And I think I took it to a level where it would have never gone. It felt like it, and these guys would tell you too, it just kept nosediving, man, down. And then when I got in the band, it was like we had to start from the bottom and go all the way back up. We're never going to get to where the band was 20 years ago because, you know, labels didn't mind spending $500,000 on music videos and shit and paying off everybody they needed to for a band to break. It's just not like that anymore. The times have changed. So we're just like, we figured out what works for our business and you have to be content with that. Just make records and make music that you love and you think your fans are going to love. And, you know, try to make new fans along the way also. That's live. Like I always feel like I always have something to prove live, going out on stage and being able to prove it. I don't know. Maybe that's that whole like replacing a singer thing, chip on your shoulder. You always feel like you have something to prove. Maybe Sammy Hagar probably felt some of that too. I know damn well Gary Cherone did.
Yeah.
But a guy like Sammy Hagar, he probably felt like, I can fucking do this. I'm going to go do this. I'm not going to be like David Lee Roth, but I'm going to do my own thing. And I think it's going to work. And it did. Yeah, but it doesn't always work. I definitely agree there.
Hey, Streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors.
Hey, Streetwalkers, Steve here. I'm proud to announce the newest and coolest sponsor of Fascination Street Podcast, Bravago Hard Seltzer. Go bold. Grill a tomahawk steak just for you on a Tuesday. Run your sprinklers twice in a row. Wear 2 different socks to your sister's wedding. Play golf with 2 balls from the ladies' tee box. However you go bold, do it with Bravago Bold Seltzer, the newest and boldest hard seltzer out there, with flavors like Sweet Freak, Vanilla Orange Cream, Chill Out, Rainier Cherry, and Sucker Punch, Strawberry Lemon. These seltzers pack an intense flavor and 5.1% alcohol by volume, with between 110 and 120 calories each. Find a store or purchase online at drinkbravago.com. Must be 21 or older to purchase or consume. Please drink responsibly. Go bold.
Let's get back into it.
So you're almost 12 years now with Saliva, and all along the way, you have had managers and distributors and record companies and all that. But correct me if I'm wrong, each experience with those individuals or those entities has taken a little bit of the shine off of that side of the business for you guys. So much so that, if I understand correctly, you guys manage yourselves now. Is that right?
Well, we were for the longest time. You know, in my 12 years here, we've had a couple managers, you know, a fanager, as I would call it, like, you know, to someone who's just like, yeah, you're great, man. Awesome. Hey, can you pay me my commissions? But I got to admit, like, the people that we have now, like, working with us have been awesome and been great and very patient. I mean, I would say just with the way things have gone the last couple of years, you know, with all the coming back from the COVID stuff, and like a lot of other bands and a lot of other businesses in general, you know, we suffered a lot during the whole COVID stuff, especially a band like us where we only make money from touring and merch, you know, so we're not selling a ton of records and a ton of new streams and stuff like that. Can't live off that. So touring and merch is where you make your money. Even the biggest acts are going to tell you the same shit. They don't want to spend their own personal money, dude. They're a business, you know. They got a 20-person crew or whatever, and people on retainer and shit, you know, like they want the tours to cover all that. You know, that's why they go do it. That's how you keep your houses and you keep your shit intact. But whole COVID thing, it was just out of everyone's hands, and we went through it, and thankfully we got out of it. And we, you know, a lot of people, other people had it worse, I know, and they got out of it too, and still dealing with a lot of that stuff, just with financial things, but just got to be positive and know that there's going to be better outcome.
So for a while, you as the frontman were taking on a lot of the manager roles, like as far as taking the reins of the business.
So when you were saying, like, you know, managers and things like that, we had gone through a few of those. We had gone through a few different labels, and nothing ever really worked or clicked until we got on Megaforce, which was essentially just a distribution deal. But Missy's been great and awesome to work with and deal with through all these years that we've been with them since like 2017 or so, I think. I have a great relationship with her, and, you know, anything we need or whatever, she's been very good there. And managing the band, tour managing the band, booking the flights, booking the hotels, you know, handling, you know, the W-9s, all the tax stuff, info, that's your guy right here. I do all that stuff. I've been doing all that stuff for years. Yeah, still. Well, you kind of had to, like, you know, you try the whole business manager thing for a minute, and then you realize they're taking a commission or they're taking a percentage, and they're not paying you for like 2 or 3 weeks after your tour. And then they're like on fucking vacations and shit with their families. And you're like, wait a second. What's the point? We're not making Metallica money, man. So I felt like we didn't need a business manager. We could, something I could handle with a CPA. It's easy, you know, you got to stay on top of it. The problem is most musicians, dude, have no fucking business sense when it comes to the music business. They're just musicians, you know. I'm not going to say all are like that, because a lot have learned, and you kind of have to, especially these days with social media and stuff. You're more hands on your brand now than ever before. Used to, record labels like, man, don't worry, we're going to handle it all, man. We're going to send you out with fucking the greatest tour manager, man. He just did fucking Black Sabbath and Lita Ford, man. You're going to be fucking in there. You know what I mean? You're like, okay. And then we got this guy over here. He's going to do this and manage that. And that's how everybody got taken advantage of, man. And the ones that were more hands-on and in the know of what the fuck's going on, those are the ones that have managed to either they got fucked too many times to where they were over that and then they figured it out, or they just knew all along, like, I don't trust it. I'm going to fucking take control of what I'm doing here. And I had to do that with this brand. It just, every time we turn around, it was always something else. And then once Wayne and I kind of got on that same page of, Wayne was like, well, I'm not going to do any of this shit. And I think a lot of times too, bands, and I don't want to make it seem like bad, like they don't know what they're doing or they don't have any sort of business sense, but they also come from a time when they were putting out records where those labels and those managers were like, we'll just take care of everything. You know what I mean? So when that happens, you're like, okay, well, you always have that mentality of someone's going to take care of it. But me, I wasn't around in those times to go through that. So figuring out what works for us and what works for our business is kind of something it took a minute to figure out. But once we figured it out, you can't really do it any other way now.
Right. Isn't that awesome? Once you figure out the keys, you don't want to give those keys to anybody. I want to talk about COVID just a little bit. If this is correct, this is pretty impressive. During COVID, you guys recorded an album of new stuff, an album of covers, as well as re-recording songs for the 20th anniversary of Every 6 Seconds EP, which you guys called Every 20 Years. And then you personally, Bobby, recorded a solo album. And all of those songs together is something like 34 songs. Is all of that true?
No, there's many more. There's probably more like 60 songs. If you're going to include like the covers record, you're going to include like the EP we did. We picked through about 34 songs for this record.
Oh, wow.
But the covers record, we probably did 10 covers. You know, we had the EP and the stuff I did like 10, but I did a different project, kind of like a modern metal, industrial kind of stuff. Like that's the record that I did. And then I also did some solo shit too, like some like Oasis sounding shit. So we had a lot of time, I guess, really, you know, during COVID. Just, what are you going to do? We just wrote a lot, and I wrote a lot. But Come Back Stronger was like the first song that we had for this record, or that we thought, oh, this would be a great direction to go. Wayne was like, when I played him the idea I had in like 2019, I had like some music ideas and stuff and like kind of what I wanted to do. And he was like, that's it. That's the next record. Whatever. Fuck it. Do that. And then we'll fucking throw 9 other songs around it, you know?
And this was Come Back Stronger?
Yeah, that was the one that he was really high up on, because he did want the record to be heavier and he wanted it to feel modern. And I mean, so did I. I mean, I just felt like, you know, we really wanted to try and get back into radio and Octane and stuff like that. And I was like, dude, why don't we just make some bangers, man? Some solid, damn, you know, hard rock songs. And we felt like we made a great record, man. So our idea was we were going to record the record in 2020 early on and then release it late summer. That was the idea. But then all the COVID stuff happened and we just kept pushing it back. And then we were like, well, we want to do something for the 20th anniversary in 2001. So we did the EP and
2021.
Yeah, in 2021. Yeah. And then, you know, 2022, we're like, well, maybe we'll put the record out this year. Didn't happen. We just kept writing. And
well, I'm glad you brought up the newest single from the album. The album is Revelation, comes out September 8th. The newest single is Come Back Stronger. I was going to ask you anyway, but since it so organically came up, I'll ask you now. Bobby, can I play that song on this episode?
Play it? Yeah, dude, please.
Would you like to introduce it like you're a radio DJ?
Yeah. I don't think I have a radio voice.
Are you out of your mind? Give it a shot. Introduce that song off the new album. Tell everybody when it's coming out.
Hey, guys, new record Revelation coming out September the 8th. New Saliva. This is Come Back Stronger.
Fantastic. Thank you. That song is dope as balls, by the way. Is it okay if I say that you're a sober person?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. How is it different? Because you write a lot of the songs, with other people, with people not even in the band, you write stuff. But how is it different to write as a sober person versus, you're writing all these songs back when you were, drinking and having a hell of a time? Do you have anything to even write about anymore?
It's different. You have a more clear mind. But for me, like from when I was not sober to where I am like now with writing, I mean, I definitely tell a difference in the writing, but I find myself going back to those moments of those struggles and things that I'd been through and what I was going through. And I feel like I'm still telling the tale, but just showing like improvement and overcoming that, Come Back Stronger is kind of about that. When you're down, you got to get up and you got to fight, and like for me, my story is different from everybody else. This guy's got a different story or this girl's got a different story and things that they struggle with and their addictions and stuff. And I think that we don't walk in their shoes, so we don't really know what they're going through and what they're thinking. But for me, it was huge accomplishment to get sober, and a lot of positive things just happened in my life once I did.
Now, I think you're right at somewhere around like 5.5 years or something like that, sober.
This October will be 5 years.
Oh, okay. Well, in advance, let me wish you a congratulations. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Was there a reason? Like, did you become sober for a specific reason or just because in general you felt like that was a better decision?
Oh, yeah, definitely a better decision for sure.
So it wasn't like you ran over your kid's dog or anything and you were like, shit.
No, it wasn't really that. It wasn't like one incident. It was things that just kind of built up. That's how it is with a lot of people. I mean, a lot of times it might take that one thing, though. Like, once again, everybody's different. If a guy is drinking, and the next thing you know, he like harms somebody in an accident or something, that can be a wake-up call. But a lot of times it still isn't for people, and that's the fucked up reality of struggling with that shit, For me, it was just things that kept building, and I wanted something better for my life. I have a new wife, and I had my kids and stuff too, and I just wanted better things for us overall. And I knew that started with me. When you're kind of like the head of the household or whatever, you have to be positive influence and good role model and just try to do the best you can.
Rad. Well, I do love that. I want to move away from that though, because that's not really the focus. I just wanted to highlight it because it's impressive. Again, well done. Good for you. And I love that the family aspect was a big part of the decision behind it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your cover songs. The covers that you guys did, are you guys releasing them as singles or is there a plan to release them as an album?
Man, you know what? The more I think about it, I might just drop that shit at Christmas or something. I don't know. Because I've got them. They're just sitting there. Nobody's heard them.
Except for one of them. I've heard it. It sounds amazing.
Oh, yeah. But no, there's just a lot of other songs that haven't been released and we should probably put them out,
Absolutely. I'm particularly interested in why you guys chose to cover Eminem's Lose Yourself, which, by the way, is fucking awesome. You guys did a great job on that song.
Covers are like really big right now. Like everybody's doing covers. But at that time, people still weren't really doing a whole lot of covers. It'd be like one here and there. It'd be like one on a band's record and stuff. But now it's just like everywhere you look, there's a bunch of covers going on, and which is great. People are using it to gain audience and build their fan base. And for me, it started when we did the Michael Jackson song in 2016. They Don't Care About Us. But at that time, I was just into like wanting to do covers that would just be different. Like do something that nobody's ever going to think that we're going to do, see how it goes. And then we did that one, and we were on Universal at the time. And the label was like, I remember they called me, and this is about the They Don't Care About Us song. And they're like, hey, so what do you think should be the first single? And I told them that should be the first single. They're like, no, we don't hear it. And I'm like, okay, well, I remember going on YouTube at that time too. And that Michael Jackson version was at like 300 million streams or something. I'm like, what is it that they don't get? I don't know. I'll never know. Whatever. So it ends up just growing legs on its own and doing its own thing. All we did was we did a lyric video for it, but it was like this video that had a bunch of old footage of like rioting and like all this crazy stuff. And this was, I think, 2016 was like election year too. So we're not a political band. We're not, never have been. I've never really been into that kind of stuff. But it just felt like the timing could have been right for a song like that in a time where people weren't really dropping a whole ton of covers all the time.
Right.
So we just kind of put it out online, and it's at like 60 million streams or something now.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's like on its own with no radio, none of that stuff, dude. Just straight up, just on its own, which is pretty awesome. Then you realize, wait, Universal's getting all that money? All right. Well, how about we're just going to do distribution deals from now on. So then comes Eminem. So we ended up doing the Eminem song. And that was another one that I'd had in mind. Like, this would be cool to do. I always wanted to do a song like that. I like rock stuff. I always kind of grew up on that stuff. I mean, who doesn't like Eminem? And I just felt like we could rock it up and make it cool. And that was another one we did. And I think that was at like 40 million streams or whatever. Same thing. No radio, no music video, none of that stuff.
And that's not through Universal, right? That's just through you guys.
Yeah. We put that out ourselves, which is great. We were able to like just gain some fans that way too. And, we started playing that in the set live. And
oh, y'all do? Y'all play that? Y'all added that to your set? Oh, that's rad.
We do like a mashup of that and a couple of the other covers that we've done.
Oh, that's kick ass.
Eminem, I would say that's a guy that he's done so much right in his career. It's crazy. Like, covering him is not easy. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, man, you better not fuck up,
Right. Well, you didn't. The song is dope as shit.
That was important to me to try to keep it true to like how it was rappy, but, just kind of change some of the elements of the music around it.
Do you know if he's heard it? If Eminem has heard it?
Oh, yeah. He said it's terrible. He said he fucking hates it.
Nah, for real?
No, I don't know. No one's ever said. I imagine he'd listen to it and say, this is pretty fucking awful. But that's because he's a fucking genius, man. He's a genius, and he's done Rap God and shit and done all this other stuff. I'm sure that he probably is 100% grateful and humbled where he's at in his career. And that song, Lose Yourself, did a lot for him and continuously still does. That's global shit, man.
Yeah, for real. Okay, finally, I want to talk about this thing I stumbled upon on Instagram. It's one of the cutest things I've ever seen. Are you singing with your daughter on Instagram?
Yeah, so we started doing TikTok stuff and then grew that. I'm at like 1.4 million followers right now just from doing covers with my daughter. And then
on TikTok?
Yeah, I'm showcasing her. And I've been putting him on Instagram too and growing the Instagram and Facebook a little bit here too. So that's been great, man. That's been just positive since, losing Wayne in March and just the timing of doing that stuff with her. I always tried to encourage her to sing and stuff. And I knew she had a great voice, just trying to tap into it, and figure out whenever she was ready. I just couldn't, as a parent, I didn't want to like force her, and I wanted her to like want to do it. And I hope that there would come a time that she would, whether it be 16 or 11, whatever, and she was 11 when we started making these videos and stuff. And she just turned 12, and it's been great.
Well, I know that earlier we talked about one of your priorities for making some significant life changes and decisions was the family aspect of it, and to be a role model and to be there.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what, man, that father-daughter singing, that is going to be some shit she is going to remember on her deathbed 100 years from now. That's where it's at. That is parenting 101, dude. You're doing a fucking killer job with that. That is the fucking sweetest thing I've ever seen. That is so cool.
And dude, she's doing her own shit, bro. Like she's about to go work with Howard Benson in LA, like on her own stuff. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool, man. The shit that's been happening lately. She's going to be dropping some original stuff here soon.
Oh, wow. Are you any part of that?
Probably not, but I'm a part of it as far as like, I'll be doing music and helping out there. And
that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. But she's got to grow the wings, and I want her to be able to do her own stuff, but I'm going to be there for sure and make sure that nobody fucks with her.
Yeah. You're going to teach her the ins and outs, right?
Oh yeah.
Hey, don't sign that contract.
Yeah.
That contract sucks.
100%.
Bobby, where can people find you on social media, man?
My name, Bobby Amaru. I post more there than I do on the Saliva stuff, but the Saliva pages are still active and good. But yeah, I'm on all that stuff. TikTok's a good one.
Once again, Streetwalkers, the new album, Revelation, it comes out September 8th, 2023. A couple of days later, like on the 10th, that's when the SNAFU tour starts. Drowning Pool, Adelita's Way, and Any Given Sunday. I am so excited, except that you're not coming anywhere near me. So that sucks. I don't know what I did to you in a previous life, but that's cool. I dig it. Are you guys going to add tour dates as this goes?
Yeah, we are.
Good. Well, maybe you'll come down here. You go to Austin all the time, dude. Come on. Well, you don't, but you could.
You're in Austin?
No, but I could get there. I'm in San Antonio. Get y'all's asses down here, bro.
I've got to say, yeah, San Antonio, we've had like a couple good shows there. I've probably played San Antonio like 8 times and probably had 2 good shows there. That's a tough market. I found out it's like people really love metal there. Metal's like a big thing there. And, but we had a couple good shows there. Like I think we played outdoor one with POD and a bunch of bands years ago. And then we did the theater there. What's that theater downtown?
The Majestic?
Yeah, maybe the Majestic with Puddle, and it was in like 2019.
Oh, rad.
Yeah, that was a fun show.
Well, that is kick-ass. Well, Austin is probably a little friendlier, right? Maybe?
No, I mean, we've had, like, the shows in San Antonio were fun shows. I always felt like we were always in San Antonio on like Tuesday night or like Wednesday night or something.
Oh, okay.
It's like, man, we got to get there on a weekend.
Yeah, San Antonio is not really, we don't really do shit on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Well, kick ass. Hopefully when you guys do add some shows, some dates at the back end of the tour, maybe you'll come somewhere near me. Austin, San Antonio, somewhere around there. It would be rad as balls to check you guys out live. Lastly, I didn't really want to give it a lot of room because I know that it's touchy. I just wanted to say that I am so sorry about your friend. That is all I wanted to say. I'm so sorry.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Bobby Amaru from Saliva, as we're heading out, is there anything that we didn't talk about or I didn't ask you about that you specifically wanted to talk about today? Like, did I miss anything? Did we cover everything?
I think so, man. I'm good. I'm good here.
All right. Well, dude, go melt faces, which is hard to do since you're in Alaska. Weird. You are going to be melting faces all over the country. Again, everybody, the SNAFU tour starts September 10th with Saliva, Drowning Pool, Adelita's Way, and Any Given Sin. And don't forget, Saliva's new album, Revelation, comes out September 8th, 2023. And hopefully, I think Bobby might have promised us all a Christmas present with an album of covers coming out for Christmas. Ow!
Maybe so.
Maybe. All right, Bobby, thank you so much, man. You take it easy. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day and your hectic writing and touring schedule to hang out and let us get to know you a little bit better on Fascination Street, man. I really appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me.
Have a great weekend with your dad, man.
All right.
All right, peace.
See you. Bye.
Opening music is the song FSP Theme, written, performed, and provided by Ambush Vin.
Closing music is from the song Say My Name off the 2021 album Underdog Anthems, used with permission from Jax Hollow. If you like the show, tell a friend. Subscribe and rate and review the show on iTunes and wherever else you download podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. All the episodes are available there as well. Check me out on Vero at Fascination Street Pod and TikTok at Fascination Street Pod. And again, thanks for listening.